Welcome to the season finale, race number 19 of the Contender Series Season 2. And tonight we're here at the 2 Mile Auto Club Speedway, the track that started it all here last season at the Undisputed Cup Series Season 1, and now it ends our Season 2. Tonight we have the KKWoodscapes 280 to crown our champion of Season 2. Will be Kyle Schmitz. Kyle Schmitz entering tonight with a 10-point lead over Cody Dorsey, Calvin Smith, Joshua Schmitz, and Derek Riley. Those five will determine who will win the championship tonight. And Kyle Schmitz already looking like a very good favorite, already 10 points ahead of tonight. But first off, we have qualifying. Who can put it on the pole, and he'll be the fastest championship 5 driver currently on the top of the board right now. It is Rusty Rafferty with 39.52. And so far, everyone else is still floating in their lap time. Still about 3 minutes left in qualifying here, so these drivers will still plenty of time to set a lap.
Yeah, definitely plenty of time to set their lap times here. Track position not going to be the most important thing tonight, but also just will be a helpful thing for pit road as well. One of the best pit stall here for tonight at Auto Club. But here comes Kyle Schmitz to complete his second lap. Will he go quicker? No, he will not. He go about 2 tenths slower. So it looks like so far tonight, based off the first few drivers, that your lap time will be a little bit slower your second time around. So first lap time is really what's going to count.
Off of turn at number 4, down to the apron here, coming to the line. See what this lap is here.
A little bit slower here for Jake Williams.
Jason Bottoms.
Derek Riley in the pit lane. He's not going to complete his second lap time.
The first lap typically is the faster one around here, but everyone has a lap time, so Steven's continuing a second lap.
It looks like only one driver has yet to qualify, but it looks like everyone else has qualified though. So right now, 1.5 minutes left. Everyone has qualified. So we'll see anyone else new joins, but I don't think they'll have enough time to really put down a lap if they go on the racetrack right now. But it looks like, yeah, 1:20 left. That pretty much crosses that window, so you won't have enough time to go around the racetrack. So looks like for now, the rest of your actor will be on pole position here. And currently he is 9th in the points. Doesn't have an opportunity here to advance any further though. So it looks like he'll be stuck here in 9th place, which is still a very good result here for him as he missed last week. So he didn't have an opportunity to really gain anything after missing last week. So with 48 seconds left to go, pretty much wrapped it up there for him. So it's right now for him, he's probably just worried about just capping off a great season and going out to season number 3 with some momentum here at Auto Club. But like we mentioned, it's going to be a very interesting race. It's going to be a long race, 140 laps in total. I think probably the longest race of the season. Not sure exactly 100% what lap count and miles wise, but I think it'll probably be up there at least the longest race of the season. So it's going to be about endurance, tire saving, and just keeping it out on the racetrack and keeping it straight for now. I think that's going to be the biggest keys for tonight's race.
We saw a lot of strategy here last season as well. We saw Heath Long, also one of those drivers last season, play a lot of different strategy. He was able to battling out for the win earlier on, later that season. Well, he was one of the drivers to go for overcut, and it was kind of working. It was getting him up a solid up front, but it was really Evan Fonseca that was able to kind of just get the best of him on that strategy. But then they had a late race caution, kind of had a lot of calamity at the end of that race. But you could see something similar play out here tonight. But this could be could see a lot of pit stops here. 140 laps. These drivers only have 65% fuel tank, so they're only going to be able to go about probably 35 laps on a tank of fuel. So they're going to see at least probably three pit stops tonight under green to be staggered.
Yeah, so I mean, getting on and off pit road going to be very important tonight overall, as these drivers green up here as well, and maybe some fuel saving depending on when the caution comes out. Maybe stretch it a little bit, but it'll be interesting to find out here who will be crowned Season 2 champion here in the Quantum Contender Series. And Kyle Schmitz talking last week at Las Vegas after the post-race, after he got the win there. He just didn't really feel too much pressure, you know. He wasn't very... He knew he had a 10-point lead, but he was just focusing this on the normal, as a normal race, you know. I think that's a good kind of way to look at it. It's just a normal race. Like, there's nothing really too special about it, except it is a finale. But the racing aspect of it is no different than any of the other 18 races this season. So I think he has a good mentality going tonight, and also that points lead definitely helps him with that calmness, I would say, as well.
Yeah, for sure. Already having a 10-point lead, it's going to be great to have that advantage.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's probably around, depending on the positioning, it's around 10 positions, but if one of the round of 5 drivers do win, they get an extra 5 points compared to second place. So I think really the only opportunity these drivers will really have is that they have to win this race. And I think Joshua Schmitz, if he finishes 6th or lower and the round of 5 driver wins, well, specifically it would have to be one of the drivers inside tied with him 10 points back, which would be Cody Dorsey or Calvin Smith. I think that would be the only opportunity for these drivers. I mean, looking at also leading the most laps is also an extra bonus point, and leading a lap is an extra bonus point as well. So drivers in the round of 5, they probably want to get those bonus points as well, because that's quite a value. Even one bonus point is one less position you have to worry about next week. So 10 points, you have to finish around. Actually, you have to finish in 8th place or worse, it looks like, if you don't include any of the bonus points. But obviously, if you win the race, you have to lead a lap. So if you do include a bonus point, it'd be maybe 6th or 7th. And then if you get both of the bonus points and Joshua Schmitz does not get any of them, you can finish in 6th place. So it's going to be definitely a tough stretch for those round of 5 drivers. But I think right now, Cody Dorsey, Kyle Schmitz definitely have a chance. But Kyle Schmitz a little bit further back. We can actually look at the live right now as they run currently. Looks like Kyle Schmitz.
We'll see how this plays out, but before we get rolling already on the back straightaway coming to the green here, let's take a look at your starting lineup here for tonight. As we saw a qualifying rescue athlete go to get the pole with a 39.522. Kyle Schmitz will start alongside him in second. So already starting up front already for Kyle Schmitz. Cody Dorsey will start in third at that 9 machine. Jake Williams Sr. will start in fourth at 29. 7th, Brandon Kexhausen will start in 5th. Starting 6th will be the 2 of Joshua Schmitz. Derek Riley will start in 7th. 5 of Jason Miles will start in 8th. 9th will be the 33 David Road. Right at the top 10 will be the 3 Calvin Smith. Right at the final row of the grid, it will be to go to line the 8 and the 14 of Scott Kerber.
And we'll see if Kyle Schmitz, how he does starting in second place. Already have a great starting position going into tonight. So we'll see how he does here. And can he hold off for the championship?
Pace car is off, and we're underway for the final time here at the Contender Series Season number 2 here at Auto Club for the finale. A good launch already for that inside lane for Rusty Rafferty, but Kyle Schmitz holding pretty strong up top, looking to try and get this race lead early.
As I rocket through 1 and turn 2, you can see the multi-groove already. Cody Dorsey on the very top side. Kyle Schmitz on the top side as well. He's going to take the lead. He's looking to lead this lap and also get that extra bonus point to help him out in the championship run.
Kyle Schmitz down into turn number 3. He's got Cody Dorsey right behind him. This could be a very important bonus point for Kyle Schmitz. We'll see if he can hold on to it, but he's got a really big gap over Cody Dorsey already, and I look like he's going to be able to easily lead this lap. So that's one less bonus point he has to worry about. And that'll be one less spot. He doesn't have can finish worse in. Kyle Schmitz doing really strong so far here. Already out the start. Now everyone's staying towards the middle of the racetrack, but you want to try to save those that right front tire, right on the bottom as best as you can. Try to get the car a little bit looser. Try to drive the car on the right rear. You know, so it can get a little loose towards the end of part of the run, depending on how you're driving it, how you're in the race car. But everyone else probably going to stay to the bottom. But dirty air is definitely going to be a big factor. You want to try and get some cleaner on that nose as much as possibly you can.
Yeah, definitely is. Right now, Kyle Schmitz has a little bit of a gap now to second place of Cody Dorsey. But here comes Rusty Rafferty with a good shove there from Jake Williams Sr. as he rocket down the back outside the front straightaway, and now the outside of turn 1 and 2 as well.
Rusty Rafferty already taken to the top lane now. You got to be careful up there. That could easily hurt your tires depending on how much you're driving. If you really drive it in there, try to crank the wheel off the wall, try to get a good drive off, it will definitely overheat your tires pretty quickly. But we'll see how they drive that top lane. But everyone's probably going to stay towards the bottom. Now this works great for Kyle Schmitz. He's got a big gap. He can just lift really early if he'd like, and just try to coast it into the corners. Try to save those front tires a little bit. Doesn't have to worry about kind of breaking the draft right now. He is going to the apron, but he's got a pretty big gap already out in the front, and that clean air is going to be huge for him in this run.
Yeah, definitely. The most important laps for these tires are the first 10, I would say. from experience, if you take care of him the first 10 laps, it goes a long way for the rest of the run. Especially a track like Auto Club with how abrasive it is with the tires and how those tires wear this old racing surface. See, through 3 and 4 he uses the bottom lane, but I think 1, 2 he prefers the top, it seems like. So far out front he's looking well, and these drivers behind not really catching up to him even with the draft.
And kind of the thing about this, they're only expecting about 31 laps on a tank of fuel, so normally that's not that much, really, especially in the next gen at Auto Club. You'll start to notice probably a little bit of fall off at about 10 laps or so, but really 15, it will really start to show where 15 to 20 is really when the drivers who really save their tires compared to the guys who really burn up their tires really start to show a difference. That's when you really start to see this is after about 15-20. So really, as long as you save a little bit here in these first 10 laps, you probably be okay moderately pushing the rest of the run and the rest of the fuel run. So as long as you're not completely burning them up super early, I think these drivers might be okay. Might not be that much of an advantage, mainly because the runs are only about 31 laps here.
Yeah, as we have a kind of a throwaway battle here for, looks like around 5th place, Brent Cuxhausen, Derek Riley, and Calvin Smith. So those drivers in the playoffs currently in the run to 5.
Looking at 3 wide here towards the back of the pack, so Calvin Smith trying to go through the middle. Still gonna be 3 wide down the front straight right now. Smith will clear
Barely to the inside. Looks like Smith will clear in the turn 1 easily in the outside lane of Brandon Cuxhausen. Here comes Jason Bottoms. He'll try to work the outside line.
Bottoms will try and grab the right rear of Brandon Cuxhausen, not going to be able to do it. He's going to get a lot of dirty off the corner exit. Derek Riley, no help on the bottom, so he'll be able to easily drain on by as Derek Riley will slot back in line behind Jason Bottoms into turn number 3. That's how they follow each other. You see Derek Riley got really tight on entry right on the back bumper of Jason Bottoms, and that allowed Josh Smith to slide right on through the bottom. He will clear and take that spot away, but these drivers start to fall back a little bit. Start to see that clean air and dirty air kind of start to separate up a little bit. Meanwhile, back up front, Rusty Rafferty was closing back down, and now it looks like he may try to go to lead on Kyle Schmitz, but lost a lot of momentum. Now Cody Dorsey will take that 2nd place spot away, and then he's going to try and hunt down Kyle Schmitz for the race lead, only about 4 car lengths in front of him.
As we go on board here with Dorsey, looks like Schmidt's going to break the draft just a little bit on the entry of turn number 3. But Dorsey here, just lift barely. Gets on the gas as quickly as possible, slowly but surely. Don't want to burn the right rears up too much. He's got a good run here down the front straightaway. May be able to make a move down to turn number 1.
A lot of draft here, but we'll see how well he can go down to turn number 1. He'll try to open up the corner a little bit. We'll see where Schmitz decides to go. He's going to try to stay a little bit higher and give that dirty air to Cody Dorsey. Dorsey had a little bit of air on the left in the front, so that helped him a little bit. Helped him get a little bit of rotation. This definitely stalled him out mid-corner and off the exit, so that's going to give Kyle Schmitz the advantage. The top 3 starting to pull away. Usually once you get like this, once these drivers get like this, top 3 or 4 cars really are the best cars to be in. They kind of draft up to each other, they can work around to get 1 car, but really if you're outside the top 5, it's going to be tougher to break into that top 5 or so. But you can definitely move your way up if you save your tires really well and kind of know how to navigate the dirty air a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of compare this race to kind of like the Indy 500. If you're just in the main pack, you have a good chance, but once you're further on back, a bunch of dirty air, not a lot of places to go. But here comes Cody Dorsey, big run here off for turn 2.
They got the outside, grab the right rear of Kyle Schmitz. Now Kyle Schmitz, no hold to get back up, so that means he was freight trained by Cody Dorsey and Rusty Rafferty here. He's going to try and find a hole up, because this is where it gets danger mode when you're getting freight trained. You got 3 cars lined up, and he looks like he's going to try to pull the slider off of turn 4. Barely there, but Cody Dorsey going to be stuck to the outside as he's got the run with Rusty Rafferty and Calvin Smith. For Kyle Schmitz, shorten the distance on the front straightaway as much as he can. He will stay side by side. Now the bottom is a little bit better still here, so this is going to allow him to kind of stay a little bit more even. If you got really good tires, you can really use the bottom later on to the run, and it looks like he's going to be able to do it. Barely clear.
As Dorsey going to give him a shove down the back, as here comes Rafferty with a huge run. As here comes Dorsey, the inside little switcheroo there. Kind of switch spots. Looks like Schmitz will clear here off turn 4.
Kyle Schmitz will be able to do it. He will still clear. Now side by side for second as Rusty Rafferty on the bottom, but Cody Dorsey has the help on the top side with Calvin Smith, trying to work his way up here early. Now to turn number 1, it will go. Cody Dorsey with the outside lane, right up against that outside wall, pretty much right on that very top seam, making it happen, and he will clear for second. They'll try to sort their way out for third here as Rusty Rafferty will slot back in line, but no, he won't. Not taking the hold there. Which I really would have taken that if I was Rusty Rafferty right there, but he still holds on to it. Holding on to about 4th right now, but he's losing a couple more spots as everyone's going around us outside.
Yeah, you do not want to get freight trained too early on in this run. That's for only 12 laps in this race, but here comes Rusty Rafferty. He got himself in 3rd place, but so far the top, I would say around 8 drivers kind of together here within about a second with our leader with Kyle Schmitz out in front. Looks like Kyle Schmitz quick here late, and later in the run, I think he's one to watch out for. He's usually been pretty quick here on these 1.5 mile intermediate type of racetracks.
Here comes Cody Dorsey. You're going to look to the bottom of Kyle Schmitz. Not going to be able to actually make much of a run for it in the center of the corner. Kyle Schmitz still breaking the draft down there. Getting to work by Kyle Schmitz. Seems in control of this field right now. He's going to play his lines perfectly, block the draft perfectly, but Kyle Schmitz perfect, using this clean air to his perfection right now. Still a while to go here. We're about halfway through this run now. So about 31 laps is our expected fuel number. So you maybe stretch it to about 33 at the most. So you're gonna have 4 pit stops here tonight, no matter what.
Yeah, I don't think you can really stretch that number out too much. I mean, as here comes Smith, slide job attempt there, not able to do it in turn 1, 2. But like I mentioned, I don't think you'll be able to stretch that fuel number out too much to really make a difference in tonight's race if we do go green the whole rest of the way.
You gotta at least make it 35 laps to make it on a restop, and that's saving 4 laps of fuel. That's not really gonna happen.
Yeah, it's almost 8 miles of fuel. I mean, especially when you're racing, unless you save the whole race, I mean, there's just like, at that point, you're just gonna lose way too much time.
It's a good opportunity though, right here, where you have the pack, you have all the draft to be able to do it. We'll see if anyone can do it. Now I know Dakota Y, Cody Dorsey, they're very good at fuel saving. This is Dakota Y is really actually way off the back of the pack right now. A little bit back at 11th, so he should maybe try to be saving a little bit of fuel. But Kyle Schmitz also, he's been having a really good gap up in front. He can kind of just lift and coast. He can kind of just coast it into the corner if he really like to. Saving Calvin Smith now, but we'll see how that plays out. We'll see if anyone can go to about 34. I think it's about 34. Could be a little closer, but we'll have to see. So far, right now, Kyle Schmitz still out of the lead. Dominating this race so far.
We're on the back in the 3rd pack here. As here comes Jason Bottoms up to 5th place. He could go to 3rd place here in a few moments' time.
Short the inside lane here. A lot of dirty air for Rusty Rafferty, going to get tight, but Cody Dorsey also got tight as Rusty Rafferty slides up to the top. Now, meanwhile, just in front of him, side by side for the lead with Calvin Smith and Kyle Schmitz. This could be an interesting call here because they were both pulling away from the rest of the field. They could have checked out. They did decide not to battle, but they're going to stay side by side for the lead. Calvin Smith going to get tight on the inside. Almost gets to the left rear quarter panel of Kyle Schmitz. Kyle Schmitz going to get the wall a little bit. That's going to allow Smith to go to the bottom. Schmitz going to try and come down a little bit, maybe try to side draft, but it looks like Calvin Smith will go to the race lead for the first time tonight, and Kyle Schmitz will not be the lead car.
As we'll see what that looks like right now on the lap championship standings. That's a 7-point swing, or still a 7-point gap between Kyle Schmitz and Calvin Smith. So Kyle Schmitz still has a comfortable gap. He'll have to lose around 8 spots right now currently if Calvin Smith wants a chance at the win at the championship. As these guys are fighting tooth and nail back here. Jason Bottoms on the 8th place. He was in 5th place just a lap or 2 ago. Now he's might go down to 10th place in a moment's time. It's kind of a blood pack here in the mid pack.
everyone just trading positions. This is where it can get dangerous if you lose the draft, lose the pack here. Especially putting all that heat into your tires, but it can be tough to try to pass unless you have really good tires. But there's dogs right for the race lead as well. But Calvin Smith, Kyle Schmitz, they settled it out now. Calvin Smith will take the upper hand on that, but that allowed Rusty Rafferty to kind of close the gap back up to those top two. They're a little bit separated, about 3 or 4 tenths between each other right now. But this time by, we complete lap number 19, so about 10 more laps in this, 11 more laps in this run.
Jason Bombs, Dan Browns for 9th and 10th place here off of turn number 2. Down the back they go. Jason Bombs has a little bit of a draft here on front, so I think he'll probably clear down to turn 3. Yes, he will. Side by side here further on up. Jake Williams Sr. and Cody Dorsey for 4th place. I think Dorsey may have burnt up his stuff just a little bit too much in the first few laps. He taps the outside wall there for turn 4, but clear for 4th. Looks like Dorsey just kind of falling back a little bit. Really wide during turn number 1. A little tight here. That's Joshua Schmitz in the middle. And so get clear of Jake Williams Sr. and also looks like Brand Cox has him as well. But now 3 wide here off of turn number 2 for 4th.
But Derek Riley will prevail on that one on the top lane. Cody Dorsey will find his hold to the top lane, and Joshua Schmitz will stick to the bottom. But he's gonna have the inside here at 3 and 4, which is typically the better line. Here at 3 and 4, but Cody Dorsey gonna pin him down on the bottom of the racetrack, and Joshua Schmitz is not really gonna be able to get the run. Now the outside will move forward, but Derek Riley, he'll come down to the bottom and try and give the draft to Joshua Schmitz to kind of stop that run from the top, as Cody Dorsey will clear it and clear down and get the draft for him. But allow Joshua Schmitz to kind of stay alive a little more. First, just a little bit. Cody Dorsey really tight, lost the nose there, a little bit in the dirty air through the center of the corner. Now it'll start to fall back just a little bit off the tail end of Derek Riley sitting in 4th, but they're going to try and force their way forward. So far, Calvin Smith seems to be the stronger driver here later in the run, as he's actually kind of maintaining a decent-sized gap over Kyle Schmitz. Oh, but he got a big run here. It looks like maybe a lift. Looks like he lifted there. Big run here for Kyle Schmitz. Looks like Calvin Smith kind of backed out of the throttle there. I think he definitely did. He had about a 10-mile-per-hour difference. I wonder if maybe an issue. Calvin. He's at full throttle coming off turn number 4. Kyle Schmitz able to close the gap a little bit, but he's still Calvin Smith still holds on to the lead after one of the top lead in 1 and 2. So far, he's got that clean air up in front of the pack.
As we're still kind of slicing and dicing here in the mid-pack, a little spread out a little bit more than they were before a few laps ago, but pit stop's probably going to be happening here in the next 5 to 7 laps here at lap 24, so been green since the drop of the flag so far, and these drivers have putting on a good show so far tonight. We'll see what it looks like after these pit stops. Usually the field spreads out quite a bit after first round of pit stops. Here comes Kyle Schmitz back to the inside.
Kyle Schmitz trying to make that inside work, try to get back to the race lead here. Probably about 5 to 8 more laps they really can have. I want to take a few here. Not much longer here before we see our first pit stops of the night. Calvin Smith holding on pretty well right now, but it looks like Kyle Schmitz staying to the bottom of the racetrack. We got 5 laps to go, roughly in this fuel run. We're expecting about 31 laps of fuel, so it's probably about 8 more laps. I don't think anyone can really go longer than 33, but you really see the gaps are really expanding now. Top 3 really pull away. I think that's what you see the best drivers on tires really. They've saved the tires the best throughout the race so far. And Kyle Schmitz, he had a lot of clean air the whole time, as you kind of heard it. Oh, so far all night long so far. Heard about the term dirty air, clean air as well. So there's some people don't know that, so kind of explain it while we have the opportunity. Right now, really nothing's happening. So right now, Calvin Smith, you'll see he's driving out front. Right now, he's got clean air, no cars in front of him. He's currently breaking through the air, the stagnant air on the racetrack. So Calvin Smith, he's kind of punching the hole in the air. Usually this is a big thing at super speedways. You see, like Daytona, Talladega, you punch a hole in the air, and then the driver behind their car will follow through. So that hole in the air, so they don't have to push the air out of the way. And so they can draft up to the car in front of them. You see a lot of bump drafting, say at Daytona, Talladega. But that doesn't really make a huge difference at Daytona, Talladega, because you're flat out the whole time. The banking's really high. But when you get to a track like this, like Michigan, or here at Auto Club here tonight, especially at a mile and a half like Las Vegas, Kansas, Chicago, pretty much any other racetrack, that air becomes kind of dirty. It's kind of really disturbed air behind the lead car. And that's really bad when you go into the corner. You gotta lift, especially when you don't, when you're not flat out. You really gotta make. It's really tough to kind of stay in that air, and that really, and the air can push the car down. It really affects the downforce of the race car. And these drivers, as you see it tonight, as you saw Kyle Schmitz there, he got a little bit dirty off that front nose of Calvin Smith in the 3, and you kind of saw the front end of the race car just take up the racetrack. So it pushes the car down, loses the downforce of the race car, and just sitting behind a car like that, even just full right behind a car, it just takes so much downforce off the front of the race car. And that will just cause the car to just go take up the racetrack. Usually makes it very tight in the next gen car. Next gen car, one of the worst cars to really deal with dirty air. But just trying to offset your car by even just half a car length will make a substantial difference on trying to get clean air or dirty air. This used to be a lot better in the previous generation of the cars, the Gen 6 car. The dirty air was pretty bad, but making kind of giving yourself that gap, about half a car width gap, would make a much bigger difference if right behind. But next gen still makes a big difference compared to right behind, but it's usually a little bit less. So dirty air is a much tougher to kind of counteract and try and find some clean air. But right now, with not many cars up front, and Calvin Smith and Kyle Schmitz running completely drastically different lines. They saw there in turn 1. Calvin Smith went way up the racetrack. Kyle Schmitz raced towards the bottom of the racetrack. It allowed Kyle Schmitz to get a little bit of clean air, and they're able to make some more speed. But now, after lap 30, here comes Calvin Smith for the race lead and down pit road.
Going an extra lap. There's a couple other drivers. Derek Riley, Rusty Rafferty, it looks like. And a few of those who that. Jake Williams Sr., I believe. Yeah. Down pit lane.
About out of the field. Kyle Schmitz all by himself out front. He's at about a 3-second gap, a 2.5-second gap back to Brandon Kuxhausen, who did not pit.
Looks like a few drivers actually pitted before him. There was Joshua Schmitz, Jason Bottoms, and Cody Dorsey pitted a lap ago, so. Looks like Cody Dorsey not way further back. Not sure what happened to him on pit lane. He's way further back of Josh Schmitz and Jason Bottoms. Let's take a replay of what happened there. Looks like he had a fine pit road. Maybe just a mistake on the entry of the pit road, possibly. Yeah, it just looks like he's just kind of further back. Doesn't look like there's any real big mistake there, but we'll see where everyone's slots in line. Looks like Scott Kerberg coming down pit lane. He'll be the last one to pit here, as everyone else down pit lane as well.
And there goes the rest of the field after lap 31. So that 31 was probably the longer these drivers were looking to go. So it looks like everybody will have to make at least 4 stops tonight on a tank of fuel. So they have a little bit of leeway. If you go every 30 laps, your last pit stop will be about lap 120. So you have about a 10-lap buffer to try and make a little bit of undercut or a little bit of overcut if you can. But you have about a 10-lap window if you're going every 30 laps at the end of the race. So could see about a 10-lap window from lap 110 to 120 by the end of this race between any of these drivers. So we'll see how that goes. But Rusty Rafferty, I think, earlier pit stop, able to jump in front of Kyle Schmitz. So a good pit stop there for Rusty Rafferty. We'll see if that the 1 lap older tires will make much of a difference. Not going to be too much. I think the more difference is really going to be that transition, that dirty air. We'll see how the fresher tires will play a factor in that as well.
And we'll see. I mean, well, not different usually here at Auto Club, not the biggest deal in the world. But we'll see how it plays out on the racetrack.
Derek Riley trying to get some momentum on Kyle Schmitz here, but it looks like the pack has kind of closed up a little bit after pit stops. So the driver is pitting early, able to get up in front. But Calvin Smith, not a great pit stop as he's back and forth, really far off here. So just pushing pit road also makes a big factor as well. Like getting on and off pit road, that can make you a lot of time here. Now Auto Club, not a super tough track to get on and off pit road here, but you can really back it up. But if you, it really roars pushing and down pit road. And it looks like that's what Rusty Rafter is really good at doing. He was able to jump up in front of everybody right now, currently leading the race right now. Top four is kind of staying together. Calvin Smith trying to close the gap in. But so far, a lot of separation here for this top five. Really throughout the rest of the pack. Not really many close battles. No one's really side by side yet. No one's really close to getting by anybody so far this race. This run.
It looks like based off the pit lane lap times, Calvin Smith was on pit road for about 3 seconds longer than anyone inside the top 5, so that 3 seconds is a pretty big margin out on the racetrack, so that's probably why he's still a little further back than what he probably should have been. But right now it looks like Rusty Rafter doing a great job out in front. Gotta make sure you don't burn off those tires too much, because I know personally, when you're in the race lead, you feel pretty good, you feel like you're doing a great job. And then somehow after 15 laps you just burn out your right front way too much because you're pushing just a little bit too much as well, because you don't really have a reference point to what other drivers are doing.
Now Derek Riley finally making a little bit of momentum here. He gets to the outside off turn, or maybe tags the wall just a tad bit there. Try to get to the outside of Kyle Schmitz, side by side. We'll take it to the wall here, up in turn number 1 and 2, trying to get that run off the corner. We're gonna get there. Let's just stay side by side here for a second. Derek Riley with a good run off of turn number 2. Will he be able to clear? He will.
He's also on a lap older tires compared to Kyle Schmitz, so pretty much everyone in the top 4 is on a different strategy than Kyle Schmitz by 1 lap, so it's not a huge difference, but we'll see how it plays out though in these next few laps. So let's take a look at the live points as they run now. So Kyle Schmitz still 13 points ahead of the rest of the field, which Calvin Smith in second, Derek Riley in the third right in front of him currently on the racetrack in second. Rusty Rafter getting chased down a little bit here from Derek Riley. Riley seems like he's pushing just a little bit here as he goes to the outside line through 1 and 2.
Side by side off turn number 2, Kyle Schmitz on the top lane, Calvin Smith over at the bottom. As Derek Riley, though, he got by Kyle Schmitz. He's really making good strides here in this second run. He's going to get to the outside of the race leader of Rusty Rafty. Trying to go for the race lead here early in the second run off of turn number 2 down the front straightaway. As Kyle Schmitz able to clear in front of Calvin Smith. Side by side into turn number 1.
And he'll clear down the back as Rusty Raptor saw in second place for now. It's Kyle Schmitz and Calvin Smith still close together here, so the top 4 pretty close together. You still have a little few drivers from the back. Grant Cuxhausen and Jake Williams Sr. 6th place, about 2 seconds back from our race leader of Derek Riley currently. So we're 100 laps to go, 41 to down. And I think so far there's not really a clear driver that's been too dominant. I mean, Kyle Smith was really good the first half of the race, I guess the first 20 or so laps. But after that, Calvin Smith got in front of him and they kind of raced a little bit. And then now at the pit stops, looks like Rusty Rafty and Derek Riley looking good. So I really, any of these drivers in the top 4 could have a chance at the win, but you just never know. Pit stop mistakes. We saw Calvin Smith a little slow compared to the rest of the field on pit road, so he tags out so while they're off turn 4. But and pit road mistakes will probably be the biggest talking point, the biggest important thing here tonight. Getting on and off pit road cleanly and fast as well. As Rusty Rafty took advantage of that one, as he's still in second place. He's trying to get back to the race lead in front of Derek Riley here down the back off of turn 2.
Down in turn number 3, looking strong here. The top 4 really starting to pull away. But Brady Cuxhausen's trying to close the gap back up, so the gaps seem to be closing up a little bit, which is good for a little bit. Drivers trying to get track up, but side by side here for 3rd, that could cause a little bit of a roadblock for Brady Cuxhausen. They start to slow themselves down a little bit, but Kyle Schmitz looks to be a little bit starting to struggle a little bit here in the second run, starting to fall a little bit back. Fortunately for him, he had a pretty big points advantage, and really everybody else, his Championship 5 contenders, not running perfectly right now, but essentially Cody Dorsey sitting back at 10th. He's having a rough night so far. Calvin Smith also running right up in front of him. Derek Riley as well, but Derek Riley had to make up the most amount of points. He had to make up 13 points. But now he's getting some of those laps led, but see how it plays out later in this race. I mean, Kyle Schmitz, if he overdrives pit road one time, gets a speeding penalty, and he's gonna lose it. He's gonna lose at least 3/4 of a lap there. That costs him a lot of time, and that's easily throw him all the way back towards the tail on the back. That could make it interesting. So, really, if you're Kyle Schmitz, you have such a big advantage. Just don't force anything on pit road. Don't force yourself into the mistake. Just keep your race clean tonight. You're gonna have the championship pretty much locked up. And he already had a good bit of bonus points for running all those laps out in front. So, and he also got a fast lap right now currently. So Kyle's just looking good so far.
As these top 6 still pretty close together, like Dan Brown and Jason Bombs a little further back, 7th and 8th, and then you have a couple of these drivers spread out throughout the field. Josh Schmitz, Cody Dorsey is having a bad pit road. I'm not sure, just so far back, he must have made a mistake on pit road or something. That kind of slow pit lane, 51 seconds compared to the rest of the field, which was 44, which is about 7-second difference just on pit lane alone. So, unfortunately for him, his championship hopes kind of dying down right now. I think the rest of the field kind of know Kyle Schmitz pretty much has it, I wouldn't say locked up, but very good and solid hands right now. I think these drivers are just kind of fighting for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and 5th here in the round of 5.
Yeah, looking strong so far here tonight. Side by side here for 3rd, Kyle Schmitz working the bottom of Calvin Smith, trying to make the spot, but Calvin Smith with the run on the top side, able to clear off of turn number 4, but the top 6 still kind of staying kind of close here, as it looks like the top 3 really pulled away at the tail end of that last run, and now 6 cars trying to close in the gap. Jake Williams just kind of bringing up the rear, trying to close the gap as best he possibly can, but really that's it. The top 6 gone from the rest of the field in multiple seconds. The top 2 kind of staying their own tandem right now. No one really making too many moves right now. Just kind of some drivers trying to make a move, but try the best to make a move, but not much help to try and get the runs on the straightaways.
There's a good run here down the back. Crafty not going to make the move to the inside line. Or the outside, looks like it goes to stay behind for now. But Calvin Smith, or actually that's Kyle Schmidt, excuse me, on the inside, just running that white line, trying to maybe save some tires here. He looks like he's struggling this run, currently 17 laps into it. There's pretty big action here for the race. So here comes Kyle Smith to the inside for seconds. Professor actually clips the outside wall off of turn number 2. It looks like Kyle Smith's still not a good enough run down the back.
That'll do it. He's going to take to the top lane here in 3 and 4, though. Usually kind of the slower lane, but he's trying to drive it to the outside. Driving on the 1 and 2 rush, you're happening right up against that outside wall. Try to get to this race lead here. Wants that clean air in front. Down the back straightaway, Derek Raleigh stays to the top lane. Rusty Rafferty does not want to pull out to the inside, so that shows you the inside not strong. But I mean, if you have a run like that, you can try to pull the slider. Rusty Rafferty wants that top lane, wants to try into the right rear of Derek Raleigh here off of 4. Gonna be able to do it. He's got the run with Calvin Smith, but Calvin Smith's gonna drive to the bottom. We're gonna try to split at 3, but Derek Raleigh will clear before he can get 3 wide. Now they're gonna stay side by side for lead. Calvin Smith looking for lead on the inside. Gonna try to slide up in front of Derek Raleigh. Gonna be able to do it. Pulls the slider.
Riley
and now Derek Raleigh, he's stuck on the bottom. As Rusty Rafferty will take it to the outside. He'll have to slide in line behind both of them.
Run.
But here comes Rusty Rafferty, big run. He'll jump to the bottom.
Can he slide job?
Rusty Rafferty will clear.
Yes, he can. Crossover move here, though. What a race here for first.
And this is allowing Kyle Schmitz to come back into the picture as Kyle Schmitz is starting to fall off a little bit, but now he's able to crawl back into it. Also, the 5th and 6th now. Jake Williams in. Brady Kice hasn't fallen off the back of these top 4s. So these top 4s seem to be the best cars so far tonight. Calvin Smith looks really strong at the end of that first run and looking strong again here at the end of the second run, but slides up in front of Rusty Rafferty. Rusty Rafferty will take the crossover. He'll go back to the bottom. He will clear before the inner 3.
Looks like they'll settle it out here for now. Is actually update here. Joshua Schmidt's down pit lane. Same with Jason Bottoms down pit lane as well. A lap ago. We'll see. I don't believe there was any damage on the fire machine. We'll check it out real quick though. Looks like there's some pretty significant right front damage. We'll see what happened exactly to that fire machine. Might have been between him and Josh. It looks like just one to come down pit lane for Joshua Schmitz and Jason Bottoms. It's back for the race lead once again.
They're fighting hard for this race lead. No one wants to give it up right now. Kyle Schmitz just kind of liking it because he's able to tag along. I don't think he's really doing the best here in the second run as even that first run. Calvin Smith working the inside lane, trying to stay in front of Rusty Rafferty. They're going to stay side by side down the front straightaway. Derek Raleigh with a good run as well. Not able to close the gap up and allow Calvin Smith to get up in line. Rusty Rafferty gets in the wall though, off the center and off the exit of turn number 2. That's going to cost it big time, and Calvin Smith will easily clear. Kyle Schmitz, though, he's got the inside lane. He's going to try and clear both of Derek Raleigh and Rusty Rafferty. Not going to be able to do it. Yes, he will. Yes, maybe through the center if he can get it off of turn 4 here. But will they pull a crossover on him? But not going to do it. Rusty Rafferty drives around the top lane. Will still stay side by side down the front straightaway. Not gonna be able to find the gap there. Maybe he'll stay to the bottom. I'll try to force his way up into the hole this late. that lane on the front straightaway, but Kyle Schmitz will slot his way in front of Lester after he clears off turn number 2. After will try and fight back. They stay side by side on the bottom. But Kyle Schmitz will prevail through the middle of the racetrack, and he will clear up for second. And Calvin Smith still holds the lead. Rusty Rafferty has help from behind now, but for the inside lane, but they will single file it out as Calvin Smith has the biggest gap right now for that first to second. A little bit closer to Derek Riley. And Rusty Rafferty there, but the top 4 are going to try to work together. Now they got to try and work together to push back up to the race leader, Calvin Smith now.
As Calvin Smith snuck his way back out to the front of the field after not the greatest pit road entry and exit, but he's back out front here. About 5 or 6 laps before bring her back down the pit lane. Same with Kyle Schmitz in second, so we'll see these drivers actually have a good pit road entry. Looks like Kyle Schmitz was struggling there in the second half of this run. He's kind of found his space recently, and we'll see Rusty Rafferty and Derek Riley how good they are in pit lane as well. Looks like they kind of fallen back at the end of this run as well, so I think they may bring up their tires just a little bit too much. They have to learn from this run and take it into the next run.
Kyle Schmitz trying to look to the inside, trying to take this race lead back now. Calvin Smith gets the wall up at turn number 2. That's going to hurt his momentum. Kyle Schmitz has the draft, but he's not going to have enough of a run as it looks like the kind of bubble behind the draft there will kind of slow him up there, but he'll see the draft on the bottom of the racetrack. Obviously a little bit high, so they're going to be side by side here off of 4. Still a good run though for Calvin Smith. He will clear.
Return 1 and 2. Kyle Schmitz still on the inside. Lap traffic up ahead as well. Could play a factor, maybe. Looks like Scott Kerber, he's going to stay at the bottom of the racetrack. His pit stops should be happening in about 2 or 3 laps time. Will Kyle Smith try to go an extra lap like he did last time, or will he try to go? Oh, Kyle Smith.
Oh, looks pretty good. Wall tap there for Calvin Smith, trying to stick to the outside. Now Scott Kerber going to go a lap down here as he will stay to the apron and get out of the way, but Kyle Smith looks like he's trying to get a little bit of draft off him down the front straightaway, side by side through turn 1 here on lap number 60. So we're expecting pit stops here within the next lap.
It's good run on the back.
Longer some of these drivers go.
He'll clear down into number 3.
Drive to the bottom, so drivers trying to get to the inside here. Looks like Derek Riley might be coming down pit road this time. Trevor's staying pretty low on the racetrack. Off of turn number 4, who will drive down pit road? It will be Derek Riley. Rusty Rafferty will follow as well. Looks like Jake Williams and Brandon Cuxhausen as well for 5th and 6th will follow on through. Calvin Smith, they stay on the racetrack for an extra lap here. We'll see how much longer they can go. They probably go maybe 62. Everyone will still have to make 2 more stops after this pit stop. Kyle Schmitz able to get the inside here. Calvin Smith off of turn number 2. Kyle Schmitz now goes to the top lane as Calvin Smith tries to get to the bottom. So Calvin Smith trying to come down pit road this time by. We'll see if Kyle Schmitz can try to go around the outside, but he slows up as well. So if they're both going to come down pit road here, number 61, the second pit stop of the night.
Looks like Jake Williams Sr. Black flag on pit lane, most likely speeding on the entry of the pit lane.
Big mistake there, spent on pit road, and he's running pretty strong as well, running up in 6th, and that's going to cost him a lot of time. So it looks like Joshua Schmitz stays on the racetrack. He already pitted. Jason Williams as well, already pitted as well. So it looks like everyone else has made their second stop of the night. As Dan Broom will take his stop. So Takudably actually a race leader. So Takudably yet to pit for his second time.
Justy Rafty, Derek Riley, Scott Kerberg close together. Scott Kerberg has not pitted, obviously lap down for the pit stops, but looks like Kyle Smith off the pit lane, and Kyle Schmidt's way ahead of him, Calvin Smith. And again, Calvin Smith, a very slow pit lane, 47 seconds compared to Kyle Schmidt's 44 seconds. Looks like Kyle Schmidt might be a race leader here off down the back. Looks like he will be.
Really good pit stop for Kyle Schmitz there, and he's got that clean air. We'll see how these drivers can close the gaps back up, but they were battling back there for that third place spot with Riley and Rafferty, but they'll single file that out. So they're gonna need to try and work together here and try to close the gap up to the top two.
They're probably ripping the top side right now. Looks like Kyle Smith out in front. Kyle Schmidt's out in front here, doing a great job. On and off pit lane. I think that's really the biggest difference in tonight's race. It's gonna be the biggest kind of key to win tonight. As with Derek Riley in the outside wall, scraping that one. It's gonna fall back probably a little bit here. The Rusty Rafty.
Yeah, Rafferty will take to the bottom, so that's going to cost him some extra time. Rafferty, he'll think better of it. He'll stop behind, try to get the momentum back going for Derek Riley. You really have to try to work together here. They can't fight. They fight, slow each other down too much, and they don't want to. They don't want to let the top two get away. Right now, Kyle Smith's looking strong. Tim and Calvin Smith seem to be the strongest so far tonight. It's really these top four. They pulled away for the rest of the field. They're definitely easily the most strongest. It stays green. These top four might be able to fight out for the win, but we'll see. Kyle Smith's been really good on pit road. Maybe he might be able to eventually, maybe he can try and drive away here towards the end of this race, maybe after the next pit stop. However, they still have to make two more pit stops around lap number 90 and around lap to 120. So in that final pit stop, there is a bigger window, so you could see some driver next run only go about 20 laps. So maybe they can go like 20 laps this time and then go 30 to the end. So they can extend this a little bit. They can only go 25 laps and then 25 again and then go to the finish from there. So I mean, you can see a few different strategies here in this final run. You have about a 10 lap window, a 10 lap buffer. So as long as you're going 20 laps on one more run here, you're going to be fine and on making it only on two more stops. So you're going to go to at least 80 and that window will be open to making it on a one more stop.
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out here, but right now the top two I think are kind of just pulling away from the rest of the field. It's going to be a Kyle Schmidt's and Calvin Smith show for now, unless there's third and fourth place drivers of Derek Riley and Rusty Rafferty can just get a good pit road. Yeah, and that's the biggest thing so far tonight, like I mentioned, just pit road, on and off pit road. So Rusty Rafferty, Derek Riley take advantage of that one on the first round of pit stops, but just couldn't capitalize on the second round of pit stops there. And also they're fighting a little bit too hard there for third and fourth as well, as Calvin Smith closing that gap down big time on the race leader.
Calvin Smith, now we'll see how hard will he fight. They have a pretty big gap now. Derek Riley, Rusty Rafferty have really fallen off the back, 1.5 seconds. So these two, they honestly, if like Calvin Smith, just try to push Kyle Schmitz. I mean, really for Calvin Smith, trying to help him right now. You don't really want to help Kyle Schmitz because he's your championship rival, but purely for Calvin Smith, you're 10 points behind. I don't know his confidence, but I know his chances are pretty low right now. But just try and push Kyle Schmitz away and try up your chances of getting this race win and hoping Kyle Schmitz makes a big mistake on pit road.
Yeah, I think the only chance he really has is if Kyle Schmitz makes a pit road mistake, like a speed penalty on the racetrack. I mean, that would drop him down probably to 10th place, but I'm sure he can maybe fight his way back up to the field. But we'll see as Kyle Schmitz run the bottom of the racetrack. Kyle Schmitz up top.
So far, these two are just pulling away. Rusty Rafferty, though, he able to get back up to third. We'll see if he can close that gap down a little bit. 1.5 seconds, definitely doable. It's now 1.8 seconds. It's definitely doable if you have the tires, but looks like Rusty Rafferty overdrove a little bit as he actually got the wall up there in 1 and 2, so that's going to cost him some more time. Just 2 car tandems here in this top 4. Jake Williams just speeding. He's sitting 11th. Lap down is Joshua Schmitz by himself in 5th. Jason Bottoms, Brady Cushhausen, they're battling for 6th now. As Cushhausen will go around the top lane there in 4. So really only 2 car tandems really.
Got the field, yeah.
Cars lingering.
Yeah, typical of an auto club racetrack, especially when we go green for quite some time. As we're halfway through this race already. Working lap 71.
And that time by, we're halfway through this one here tonight for the season finale of Contender Series Season 2. KKWoodscapes 280, 70 down, 70 to go, and now it's 71 down, 69 to go.
And looking at
Kyle Schmitz will lead that one here at the halfway point.
Looking at the laps this season, this is definitely the longest race of the season as well. So these drivers gotta be prepared mentally and physically as well. It's definitely, it's nice at a big racetrack you got a lot of time on the front straightaway and back straightaway, kind of rest your hands and whatnot. But I know from my experience, you can definitely get a little bit tired. Your hands get a little tired. You just get a little tired, even though you're sitting down in the simulator, not really too aggressively driving this race car, but still can get a little tired here, and you maybe make some mental mistakes out on the racetrack.
And you definitely make those mistakes as well. Personally, for me, some of my most tiring, I think one of the most physically tiring of mine was an old league race back in 2020. It was a cup car, well, at that point, Gen 6 cup car at Dover. I remember that one I was kind of tired after a pretty long run in that one. But I think most recently, probably, would have to be the Daytona 24 as, running 22.5 hours in the span of 43. So, not recommended, I would say, but it definitely was. That was definitely a lot more mentally tiring, really, than physically. But definitely was pretty physical by the end of it, as probably the most physically tiring I've been after running 4 Daytona 24s and spin in a week and spin of 43 hours. But definitely was very mentally tiring as well. It woke up right as I was getting in for my final stint. So yeah, not ideal.
Yeah, that'd be a little bit too extreme right there, but it's right now Kyle Schmitz trying to look to the race lead for now, but Kyle Schmitz kept blocking. But yeah, I mean, typically speaking, I would say most of these Quantum Contender Series races probably like an hour and 20 minutes long. This one will probably be an hour 40 when it's all said and done after all the pit stops and whatnot. So it's not too terribly long, but you know, when you're so used to running those hour 20-minute races, you go the extra 20 minutes. Especially if you go green the whole way with no breaks in between, that's definitely just, even any racetrack, any length is just, you go green the whole way. It's just definitely tiring, and also just having the fuel save, possibly, obviously probably not tonight, but tire save definitely, and making sure there's so much things in the race car with Auto Club. Not as easy as it seems, you know, you have so many grooves you can choose, top, bottom, middle, as you see right there. Kyle Schmitz on the top side, Kyle Schmitz on the bottom. So many lanes you can run, and it's a lot of decision making, and when you get a little tired, your decision making might be a little bit slower overall.
Especially that mental fatigue can make a big difference, making just lack of judgment, lapse of judgment late after you're tired. That can definitely happen. Especially for these guys, some of these guys on Thursday night. I mean, could have a long day of work earlier, so that could also add to that mentally tiring part of that as well. So I mean, some drivers maybe got a nap after work earlier today. Yeah, kind of a lot of different things here.
Yeah, I get yeah.
Tim, but we'll see. But so far, these top two, Calvin Smith, they might be a little bit tired. They're not showing it very well. As right now, these top two have really driven away from the rest of the field, staying about a about 1.5 to 2 seconds back in front of Rusty Rafferty and Derek Riley for third and fourth. But they are dusting the rest of the field currently tonight.
Yeah, right now it's sort of the top four that have contention to win here tonight. Definitely the top two for now. It's a big draft here for Colin Smith to the outside line. He's not going to the bottom. Little fakeroo who looks like goes top, fakes top, goes bottom. Maybe slide drop here. He's going to clear. Watch for the crossover. Not able to do it, though. Oh, but he's loose off of turn two.
Oh, he got loose. Kyle Smith swiped the back bumper of Calvin Smith there, took the air off the back bumper, and that got Calvin Smith really, really loose. I don't really see that in the next gen. I think it's kind of a similar to that. It's kind of a bug here in the on the service. But swiping that back bumper like that really gets that car loose. And that's what happened with Calvin Smith. That got him really loose. And now, actually, he's kind of halfway between Rusty Rafferty and Kyle Schmitz. That actually might be allowed Rusty Rafferty maybe try and close the gap up a little bit.
Yeah, he's got slightly a little draft here, but not too much to the air with about seven or eight car lengths in between those drivers. But Calvin Smith did a good run off turn two. He's closed that gap down to under half a second. So I don't think he won't suffer too much from that incident, but it might heat up his right rear tires, so he's got to take care of those ones. But we haven't really seen anyone get too loose here tonight, so I don't think that's a big deal. I think, like you mentioned, that's just taking the air off his his rear end for Kyle Schmitz. That's kind of what affected Calvin Smith more than the tire wear. But right now he's up on the top side. He's gaining a lot of time here quickly.
Yeah, and Rusty Rafferty was following him. He just followed him into the wall in turn number one as Rusty Rafferty got the wall through the center one and two. That big moment for Calvin Smith allowed Rusty Rafferty to get a little stiff on the draft, and that closed him up about a second. So that little mistake right there cost him a lot of time, because it allowed Calvin Smith to kind of back up and get the draft and get in the draft range. Rusty Rafferty get into the draft range and allowed him to close up. So I mentioned earlier with the dirty air, that draft is a big factor on these straightaways. It helps a lot, but in the corner, you got to lift, and you're making a much sharper turn than what you normally are at Daytona Talladega. And also you're lifting and trying to take different lines. It just takes so much downforce off the car. But the draft is still big on the straightaways.
Looks like Jason Baum's down pit lane. He has a whole different pit cycle compared to the rest of the field currently. Same with Joshua Schmitz as well. So they just came down pit lane. So that's Calvin Smith for the race lead.
Kyle Schmitz going around on the outside, but Calvin Smith trying to make his move back to the bottom, trying to get the race lead back here, taken away from Kyle Schmitz. So they go side by side into turn number 3 and 4. Off of 4, looking a little bit tight.
Almost some contact.
A little bit of door banging there, possibly, but he'll slide up behind Kyle Schmitz as they will now try to pull away. Rusty Rafferty again as they open the gap back up, but Derek Riley, he's really starting to struggle as he's falling off the back a little bit. Side by side for lead again. Calvin Smith back to the bottom. We're trying to slide up in front of Kyle Schmitz. Not going to do it. Bottom, just not enough grip down there for Calvin Smith. As I mentioned earlier, the fuel number is open, as now these drivers can pit now and still make it on one more stop. So we could see the strategy start to open up a little bit earlier here. So as you mentioned, Jason Bowles a few laps ago pitted as he's able to make it on one extra stop. So he's still making only one more stop. So he's gonna have to just pit a lot earlier after the next run. He's gonna have to pit probably about lap 110, about 30 to go. And up front, they've been going about 30 laps so far.
There will count on the outside wall. It's going to slow him down big time in 1-2.
So now Buster Athlete closed the gap back up as he was starting to inch his way back into it, and now he's going to be able to get the draft from Calvin Smith on the straightaways a little bit. Kyle Schmidt still holds the lead. Calvin Smith in second. Rest of your athletes sitting in third. Derek Riley in fourth right now. Derek Riley's 3 seconds out of the race lead. Rest of your athletes about a second and a half. He's trying to get the draft from Calvin Smith to close the gap in a little bit. He's about a second back from Calvin Smith. As Smith actually running the wall there in 3 and 4, trying to get a run or trying to make some ground on Kyle Schmitz. He doesn't have any really draft help. Just has to try and get some clean air on that nose, and actually had a really good run off 3 and 4. Massive run, actually. He's going to be there to the end of turn number 1. He'll send to the bottom. It's looking side by side for lead for Calvin Smith. Just try and slide him in front. He'll actually get crossed over off the exit of the corner by Kyle Schmitz. Schmitz will clear. I was mentioning that strategy earlier. These drivers can pit now, still making a little one stop. I think if you're Derek Riley, you have to do something like that. You gotta try and pit at least 2 to 3 laps earlier than these drivers out in front of you, so you can try and make up that 3-second deficit you lost throughout this run. You gotta try and get up in front and try and block with your try to block with that track position, try to block with the dirty air early in the run. Try to save a little bit of tires and early in the run. I think right now Derek Riley, he's just bleeding time. I think he should just come down pit road right now. These drivers like Kyle Schmitz, Calvin Smith, they're only going to come down probably within the next 3 laps. So I think if you're Derek Riley, I think you just bite the bullet, come down now, and try and jump in front of these drivers, so you have a little bit, so you have that clean air early on. You can try to give the dirty air, slow them down a little bit earlier. They'll definitely pay the price at the tail end of that run, maybe a little bit. But if you save your tires well enough, you can definitely stick on to them and pit with them at the final for that final stop.
Yeah, especially with these top 2 battling out right now. That's what Derek Riley is doing. He must be listening to you right now. But he's coming down pit lane here on lap 90. We're coming to 90.
Derek Riley will come down pit road. We'll see how that plays out for him. He's got to make about 3.5 seconds, so he can make that time back up. But he's just going to make sure he's just not burning his tires while trying to lead and block. He's just going to kind of manage his pace up front. He's going to try and get up front and just try and give them the dirty air behind. Just try and air block. A 2-3 lap difference, not gonna make it too much difference on tires as long as you just block the air, not overheat them, and it's really not gonna make a difference. He might have to pit a little bit early in that final stop as well, but as long as he's saving them well out in front. But if he pits a little bit earlier, and he pushes a little bit, if he stays with that pack, he might be able to create a gap like we saw with Kyle Schmitz earlier at the start of these runs. He's just so good on pit road. It gets about a half second to 3/4 second gap. That takes him a minute to close the gap back up.
Will Russ Rafty coming out pit lane? Doesn't look like he'll come down this time. Derek Riley, it looked like he had a good pit stop there, so we'll see where he slots in line. Last time by, he goes So is this lap? Oh, caution's out.
Oh, caution! Caution on the racetrack. First
Brandon
caution of the night. It's Brandon Cuxhausen around the turn number 2.
And Derek Riley. Wow. Unfortunate for him.
Everyone trapped a lap down with the exception of Kyle Schmitz, Calvin Smith, and Rusty Rafferty.
Wow.
That was not what we were not expecting to see that.
Just pitted Cuxhausen. Not sure if he spun. Oh, he spun on the exit of pit lane. Shane getting up to speed here. We'll look at the replay here as he drops a jack and comes down pit lane, comes off the exit pit road. Wow. So I think his first spin did not cause a caution. He spins right there into the grass. And with the grass on his tires, you gotta be a little bit more careful than that race, and they stick to your tires.
And also spinning them there, it just doesn't help trying to get back to speed.
Yeah, he probably gasses up right here and spins it out. Especially on the apron, there's no grip down there.
It tracks rush down there, all the rubbers are washed down the racetrack.
He clipped the bump. Oh, he clipped the bump right there. Wow. And right in front of our leaders, too. That could have been disastrous for Kyle Schmitz and Calvin Smith right there. We go on board here with our race leader, 19 machine. And Rusty Rafferty had to hit the outside wall to avoid him.
Well, that's too bad there, really, but he's up down here now. Can't really, you gotta have to come down pit road. I mean, if they want to play a danger, I mean, they actually, these drivers actually might be out of fuel here, but you want to play danger, just stay out of the racetrack, trap the rest of the field lap down, but they have to come down pit road, so everyone will get the wave around at least.
Yeah, but
it looks like
Jake Williams,
he was the earliest to pit. He's not pitted.
He pitted 30 laps ago, so he still has to pit. So because he had that black flag penalty, that's why he's a lap down.
Trying to take that wave around. Oh, he's got the lucky.
He's got the lucky dog, so it's a very lucky for him, I would say. Got 29 machines. So
great job for him as he was able to hold on. But looks like fourth will go. Fifth will go to Joshua Schmitz now. As he was first driver. He was first driver out of the drivers who pitted. Jason Bottoms.
Pitted early as well.
Way back at 7th. Cody Dorsey, Scott Kerber. Scott Kerber actually come down pit road there, as he was also a lap down on speed. So he looks like he will be the one driver, one lap down. The Cuddleby will be stuck 2 down. Actually, he'll get one of his laps back here. And Brady Cuxhausen being involved in that wreck. Not sure if he continue tonight. Sitting there at 12th currently. It's Cuddleby now running 11, but that's not something Kyle Schmitz wanted to see. Because now Kyle Schmitz, things could go bad right here. We'll see how this plays out, but we're coming to the restart here in a couple of laps here. Trevor's getting ready to catching back up to the pace car. So now we'll restart with under 50 laps to go. So these drivers will have to make one more pit stop under green if we go green and get to that point. The drivers can expect to go to about lap 123, at least for Kyle Schmitz, Rusty Rafferty, and Calvin Smith. Everybody else in front of them will have to go anywhere from 110 to 120. Everyone will be getting the wave around, so Jake Williams Senior was a lucky dog. So Kyle Schmitz, Calvin Smith, Rusty Rafferty are lead lap drivers, and then Scott Kerberg, Cuddleby. Scott Kerberg will be one lap down to Cuddleby. Brandon Cuxhausen also did not take drive rounds. Everybody else in the field took a wave around there. Now they're trying to catch back up to the field. So everyone will line up on the inside lane here. Scott Kerber, he'll be running in 4th. The only driver lap down, so he's hoping for a quick caution here so he can get his lap back. Looks like they're laying off the back just a little bit to the tail end of the base car.
As here we go. We'll come to around 45 laps to go, 46 to go when we get to the line. Green flag's out. Great jump here for Kyle Schmitz on the outside line.
Yeah, good launch for Kyle Schmitz. He will clear up in front of the field, and everyone else will try to slot back in line. It was pretty much a single file restart, except for the front two rows. This Scott Kerber able to restart in fourth there, but he is at one driver one lap down, so he's hoping for a quick caution here, hoping to get his lap back. Somebody else going to try and drive their way to the field, but they also have a little bit older tires compared to these top three. Derek Riley, though, he's still able to hold on to fourth, so actually did stay on the lead lap, it looked like. But now we have a wider strategy now, so these drivers, they only got to go to 110 and they can make it. So they only really need to go 15 laps in this first set and then go third to the end. So we have a pretty wide, probably about a 13 to 15 lap window for these drivers now.
Yeah, I mean, I think strategy-wise, it shouldn't be too complicated. I think these drivers in the top three or four probably have the best chance still, as Josh Schmitz, Jason Bottoms, Dane Barone have about 12 to 8 lap older tires than the rest of the field. They're like at least the top four. But the top two really pushing together right now, out in front. As here goes Callum Smith to the inside on the front straightaway. Side by side for the race lead here, coming to lap of 98. Can he clear in the turn number one? Yes, he will. No, he won't. Not quite. I think he was clear for a moment, but he just didn't take it off of turn two. Still side by side for the race lead. Watch out for Rusty Rafter. He has a good run down the back as well. Looks like Calvin Smith might just stay the inside for now. Here on Kyle Schmitz on the outside. So they go off of turn number four. Kyle Schmitz still out in front, barely by a nose. Over comes the big side drop there coming to the line. These drivers still side by side. These drivers have been duking out here probably for the past 60 or so laps. It seems like these have been the 1 and 2 drivers so far in the field.
Side by side, Smith on the bottom, Schmitz on the top lane. These two championship favorites, championship contenders, but Kyle Schmitz just needs to stay clean tonight. He's going to be pretty much finished well as long as he doesn't get wrecked out here. But he's battling for the race lead, trying to end off on a good note. Kyle Schmitz, Calvin Smith doing the same thing. Everyone else just trying to end off the season, being the season finale winner. That's number one. He's side by side for the lead still, but now Rusty Rafferty has an opportunity. He's right behind, looking to try and take this spot away. He's got a lot of dirty air in front, and there are really no lanes for him to go to. He can try and run the very bottom. Looks like Smith was running the cut in the middle, so he can try and stay a little bit lower, or try and shoot for the gap in the middle here. It looks like we will try and stay a little bit lower here. But Calvin Smith will take clear for the lead, but he's hitting the wall off turn four. Pretty hard tap to the outside wall. It cost a lot of his momentum. He'll slot in line behind Rafferty. The top five, they have pulled away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, definitely a big gap between the rest of the field. And Joshua Smith, I'm surprised he's doing so well on those older tires. 20 laps on those tires so far tonight. This is the last pit stop, so surprised he's doing so well. Is back further behind. Got two different packs here. Jason Bottoms And Brown side by side coverage, we're seeing this pack as well. Lewis just kind of having an off night so far tonight. We'll see if he can come up clutch here later, but just not looking good so far. Got 9 machine.
That's run number 1. Top 3 trying to break away. Derek Raleigh trying to close the gap back in. Josh Smith's on a little bit older tires. He was one of the first drivers to pit on before that yellow. Side by side in. It looks like from the race lead, maybe a nosely inside for Rusty Rafferty. We'll stop in front of Smith.
So here goes Rafferty to the inside. Maybe have Schmitz right here. Off of turn 2, not able to have the momentum, and I think Calvin Smith got to take advantage of that one. Good run down the back for him.
Calvin Smith slides in second. The top lane, Calvin Smith trying to get around the outside of Kyle Schmitz. Looks like he might be able to get there. He will. They're going to be side by side for the lead here. So a long way to go on this one. These drivers still have about 20 laps of fuel left. That will be their final pit stop of the night. Schmitz will clear for the lead. Smith will slot in line behind. Down the back straightaway. That was just side by side.
Smith will clear, but crossover once again. We've seen this many times tonight. Where will Rusty Rafferty go? Will he choose the top side? I think he will choose the top here, so watch out for Calvin Smith. As actually Kyle Schmitz clears in the entry turn 1.
Back straight away, Kyle Schmitz in the race lead. Charles Smith sitting in second. Slide to the top lane, but Kyle Smith just trying to stay to the top lane. He likes that outside lane so far tonight. But I think these drivers, they don't want to burn off their tires here. This is an important one. You don't want to be on the back foot towards the end of this run, because you're gonna have to come down pit road. You gotta make one more pit stop. You want to try to get in that final kind of breakaway after that pit stop. You want to try to be in that front 3 together in that front pack.
I think being the front pack here obviously going to be very important after the pit stops. As right now the top 2, it's been this way kind of for the most part of the majority of this race. It's going to be Calvin Smith and Kyle Schmitz. You can out here Rusty Rafferty. I think if he has a good pit road, I mean Josh Schmitz, don't count him out yet. He has 26 lap old tires and he's in 4th place. He's doing really well in that 2 machine.
They're looking strong so far, but still side by side for the lead. Kyle Schmitz side by side here with Calvin Smith. These two have been trading spots pretty much throughout this final run, but no one else has been able to get close to them. Rusty Rafferty just trying to wait behind. Roster Schmitz, Derek Raleigh top 5, lingering. Derek Raleigh trying to pull along, but Derek Raleigh might have to do what he did before that caution came out. Might have to pit a little bit earlier. Trying to jump up in front of these, especially these drivers battling right now. Pitting as soon as you can, or pitting a few laps earlier, will definitely give you that advantage because they're battling. They keep slowing each other down, and you'll be on the fresher tires. Might be able to open up a gap. So that could be huge for Derek Raleigh, or these drivers behind Kyle Schmitz and Calvin Smith here. They battle, they slow each other down, and you'll be on the fresh tires. You might be able to jump out in front of them by a good bit, depending on how much they're slowing each other down. Pit stop's almost open. You'll have to go probably 2 more laps to be in a safe window to make it on fuel at the end of the race. But you'll probably want to go to about 115. So you have a little bit extra fuel if you do get a yellow for a green-white checker. I don't think you really want to stay out of that point. You'll probably come down and take 2. You have it if you need it.
We'll see though. I mean, I think the top 5 all have a chance here late. You know, I think the biggest surprise, like I mentioned kind of multiple times, is Joshua Schmidt on those older tires. I think he's definitely one to watch out for. I know he doesn't really have a chance to win the championship, but he's been really good in these playoffs though. Besides probably 1 or 2 races, really 1 race, really. This driver on the inside, that might be Scott Kerber. Looks like Dakota Bly on the inside. Yeah, Josh Schmidt just had that 1 bad race at Daytona, had an incident early in that race, wasn't able to continue. I think that's really the biggest thing for him. In this round of 5, he had a great shot at winning the championship. Coming in the round of 5, he might have been the favorite as he comes down pit lane right now.
So Josh Schmidt's down pit road or pitting early, so he might be trying to bring this. Trying to jump in front. Now he did his pit as early as he possibly could. The gap's starting to open up just a little bit from the rest of the top 5. Joshua Schmitz, he was hoping they kind of kept battling so he can maybe jump in front of the rest of this pack. We'll see that. See how that plays out. He's going to be at a pretty severe disadvantage by the end of this run. By the end of that last run, he's going to try and want to save a little bit of tires here while he's out in front.
And also one thing as well, the fastest lap does get an extra bonus point as well. Fastest lap currently goes to Kyle Schmidt, so I think Kyle Schmidt currently has the most laps as well. I think if Kyle Schmidt can lead these last couple laps, last 30 or so laps, he might have a chance at that as well. So Kyle Schmidt probably have to get the fastest lap, lead the most laps, and win this tonight's race. And Kyle Schmidt will probably have to finish around 5th place if Kyle Schmidt wants a chance at the championship. Also, if they do tie, they would probably go to most wins, which actually would be tied for. Actually, no, it would be Kyle Schmidt. So Kyle Schmidt will have to win based on points, but here comes Kyle Schmidt to the inside line. 2, 1, and 2. Will he clear the off for 4? Not quite. Still the line, Kyle Schmidt will clear down the front straightaway. Kyle Schmidt once again go to the inside 1, 2. Down the back straightaway he goes as pit stops happening further on back. Derek Riley, Dan Barone. Down pit lane with 27 laps to go. These drivers can go about 9 more laps if they want to, the top 3. So we'll see, but to the inside once again, Kyle Schmidt through 3 and 4. Not quite clear yet.
Calvin Smith holding the lead. Kyle Schmidt's out of the bottom. Side by side off the exit, but these two not battling as hard as Joshua Smith was probably hoping when he come down pit road. But Joshua Smith was pitted pretty early down that last run, so he didn't really have much fuel compared to these drivers out in front. Sitting back and forth, Derek Riley. Actually, Derek Riley actually come down pit road already. This is falling back to 6th.
So here comes Kyle Schmidt. The rest of your have to stay out an extra lap. So most important pit stop of the night probably coming down right now.
Rafferty stays out on the racetrack, so he looks like he might be trying to go for the overcut, but he gets to the wall in 1 and 2 already. It's not gonna help him at all there. We'll see where Joshua Schmidt. Where was the Joshua Schmidt cycle? Because he had about a 5-lap advantage here. 5 lap undercut. This could be big
he
for
might be in
Joshua
front.
Schmitz.
He might be in front here.
Joshua Schmitz across the line now to complete this lap. Can he get in front of Kyle Schmitz?
I think he will be.
Calvin Smith.
He's still in the
They're on the
apron right
apron
now.
here, getting up to speed. Make sure you don't want to cross that line. Calvin Smith maybe cross the pit exit line. Might be tight. We'll see if he gets a penalty,
We'll
but
find
Joshua
out.
Schmitz not going to jump him.
He still has a huge run down to turn number 3.
Also, I got to mention, I wonder if anyone would take 2 tires. 2 tires can save you a good bit of time.
No,
It probably will end up being faster. It's already such a short run already.
Rusty Rafferty could. That might be a game
That could
plan
be
for
a
him.
big moment for Rusty Rafferty.
Especially with these drivers behind battling it out.
I think 2 tires is definitely going to be your call for Rusty Rafferty here. Like, it has to be your call. You can jump out way in front. You're not running a long run here. I mean, you're not really running too much of a long run. I think Rusty Rafferty, you can take 2 tires, but you don't want to stay out too long. We'll see how long he goes. Maybe he might go to the end of his fuel run. Rusty Rafferty, though, still holds the lead. Kyle Schmitz, Calvin Smith. But they might be battling together. They're pulling away. They're pulling away for Joshua Schmitz.
He might be hoping for a caution here as everyone is a lap down currently. You can go around 3 more laps here on this tank of fuel.
Really, if I were Rusty Rafferty, I'm hoping one more like Kyle Schmitz gets back in front of him, and Kyle Schmitz will stay out if we get a yellow. But also, he's going to have to take 2 tires, I think, if Kyle Schmitz gets back in front of him. I think 2 tires is really going to be the call to win here. We'll see what Rusty Rafferty does.
I think 2 tires would be the call to win.
20 laps to go here in Auto Club for the season finale. KKWoodscapes 280 here from Auto Club. Rusty Rafferty's right on the top lane. All with the clean air right now.
He's only about 3/10 slower than Kyle Schmitz right now on the racetrack, so he's really not losing too much time. Second place.
And 2 tires. I think 2 tires will be
I think 2 tires is the right
faster
call
in this
here.
situation. Like, honestly, if you're in the middle of the racetrack on the bottom, maybe he's giving up time on the top lanes. Really, I think he'd probably be kind of even if he just stayed at the bottom, running it good. But right now, just taking off laps. Probably have to pit within the next 2-3 laps. Sick call here from Rusty Rafferty where he's running the top. I guess maybe might be a little bit too tight on the bottom. He's giving up a lot of time to run to the top like that, and he's lost a lot of time. He still stayed out 1 more lap. 2 tires, probably going to be a strategy call. We'll see how what Rusty Rafferty does. So I'll probably have to come down pit road. He's just trying to keep the momentum going. See how much longer Rusty Rafferty can go. It looks like he stayed to the top lane, so it looks like he's probably not pitting again here.
Very surprised he's been on these tires for about 30 laps here, or stinking fuel for 30 laps, but granted, About 2 of those laps from their caution, so you probably can go an extra lap here, so he'll probably have to pit this time by if I had to guess.
Now look up now with 16 laps to go. We'll see if that 2-tire call will be his strategy. 2 tires will save about 4 extra seconds on pit road, and that's big here in this situation. And he's also gonna have the overcut as well. So those drivers behind him, they're gonna have tires. They have older tires as well. So that will be big. Looks like he's gonna run to the bottom. So it looks like he's gonna come down pit road this time by. Will he take 2 tires or will he take 4? And will Kyle Schmitz and Calvin Smith, will they battle in this lap? Josh Smith on much older tires. He's trying to tag along, trying to hold on, but everybody else, it looks like it's going to be between Kyle Schmitz, Calvin Smith. Actually, Calvin Smith had a really big run. He clears it a 1. Looks like it's going to be between those two in if Rusty Rafferty takes 2 tires here as he makes the long trip down pit road at 55 miles per hour.
Yes.
Gets to his pit stall. He'll stop at his stall all the way down to the first pit stall after he got the pole. He'll go up on the right sides. We'll see if he drops the right sides and guns it, or will he go around for 4?
He's going,
Rusty Rafferty,
There he
2
goes.
tires.
See, they come
2
down
tires
the
for
front.
Rusty Rafferty.
It's gonna be close. I don't know. 5 seconds is a gap here. You probably want at least a second once he gets down the back straightaway to have time to get up the speed. But I think he'll be clear. I think he'll be in the race lead. Yeah, I think he'll be in the race lead here.
Rusty Rafferty will be in the race
But
lead,
it's
but he
be
also
close.
has that 10 lap. He has 10 lap pressure right side tires as well, so that's going to give him some extra grip.
That is true. As Kyle Schmitz, Joshua Schmitz and Calvin Smith side by side here for 3rd and 4th here on the racetrack. As Kyle Schmitz 7 tenths back from Rusty Rafferty. Rafferty with the way fresher tires on the right side. And with 15 laps to go, I think that was 100% the right call for that 34 machine.
Yeah, it's really only the right call, especially when you have a pretty short run like this here on the next gen. That's the only call you really want to make, just 2 tires. We'll see, he just goes to the top again. That's costs me a lot of time. That's not really faster, especially in 3 and 4. Run to the top like that, not faster in 3 and 4. So, I mean, if you're fresher athlete, just run the bottom. You already have the fresher tires as well. No need to run the top. You don't need, no need to keep the momentum going because you're not battling anybody right now. He's going to the top again, so using fresher athlete here. This, I mean, drives it like that, that might overheat his tires a little bit, might give him too much time because you'll see, but he was holding the gap earlier. We'll see how it goes. That side by 39.808 and Kyle Schmitz 40.366, so he goes faster. See the other 2 tires, Rusty Rafferty probably hoping no more cautions here, just run up to the end. He might be able to pick up the win. Kyle Schmitz, he probably would love the win to top off the season, but he looks like right now, currently as he's running, he's going to have this championship locked up.
Yeah, about 13-point buffer unless something crazy happens in the last few laps. Maybe let your caution, punch him back up. Looks like Kyle Schmitz looking for his first championship here in the Contender Series.
Cody, the previous season champion, the reigning champion, and 10 points back.
Just hasn't
not
had
having the night he hoped for.
It seems like something's just off there for Cody Dorsey. It's not been good enough tonight. Really running that 8th place spot. Probably not the result he thought he was gonna get here tonight. I mean, he started inside the top. He started 3rd place tonight, so I thought he had some speed. Looks like he just race pace wise was not there. It seemed like. But actually, Rusty Rafferty pulling away big time here from the drivers behind. So looks like Rusty Rafferty probably made the race winning call right there off a caution here late with 12 laps to go this time by.
Have 12 more laps to go, and if you're Rusty Rafferty, his laps are going to heal longer and longer. We'll see how well he can do it. Just going to keep mistake free, and looks like he's going to be able to drive away here and take this win. Rusty Rafferty had 1 win on the season. We're going to add number 2. Rusty Rafferty runs back at Kentucky. Race number 11 of the season.
It's kind of something right in the outside wall. Clipping the outside wall, you can hear that on your here as well. As Josh Schmitz duking out here. They duked it out last week at Vegas. But this time it's for second, not the win.
Father and son racing in off of turn number 4 here in the Quantum Contender Series. Kyle Schmitz looks like he'll be the one who looks like he will be the champion of the family after tonight, assuming nothing bad happens within the next 10 laps. We'll see how this plays out off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. It looks like they're trying to battle for second. They're really gonna try and work together and try to chase down Rusty Rafferty, but Rusty Rafferty with their fresher tires on 2. It's looking like he's just holding it together. He's just going to keep it together for 9 more laps. 18 more miles to go for Rusty Rafferty until he is the race winner. Also 18 more miles for Kyle Schmitz until he is crowned the champion, as long as he does not get wrecked here. He doesn't want to battle too much here, doesn't want to risk getting wrecked for the win. They have their own blocks back there for that second place spot. Kyle Schmitz, Joshua Schmitz, and Calvin Smith. Joshua Schmitz, he pitted a lot earlier. The old tires, he's actually coming back into it here. So he's come back into this battle for a second. Eight laps to go here in Auto Club.
Smith clears Josh Schmitz in 1-2. Will he make room here for Kyle Schmitz through 3 and 4? Trying to get some cleaning up top.
Trying to find some clean air, trying to get by in front of Kyle Schmitz. So I say you beat the champion in the final race of the season. Calvin Smith also fighting, trying to fight for second place in the championship, because him and Joshua Schmitz here, they are fighting for second place in the championship as well with this battle. So not completely, I mean, if they're fighting for second here, that's still pretty big. Runner up in the championship. Final race of the championship 5, final race of the season, and these three are all battling it out for the championship here tonight. But Kyle Schmitz had a 10-point buffer and he's extended it tonight. He's going to exit with 2 points gain. Everybody else at least. Still battling out here with Calvin Smith. They've been battling all night long. Well, now it's not for the race lead. Strategy going in favor of Rusty Rafferty, staying out longer, taking the 2 tires. Now he's just trying to hold on and try to take this race win away.
So those drivers getting the outside wall in 3 and 4, but Kyle Schmitz kind of comes out the end of that one. A little gap between him and Kyle Smith now, but Rusty Rafferty, man, what a strategy call for him. I mean, we were talking about it a little earlier before he pitted. I think 2 tires we mentioned is the best call in these next gen. It seems like there's not a ton of wear on the left side of these tires, so I think next season these drivers will have to learn a little bit here from Rusty Rafferty. It's a big slide job here for Josh Schmitz. For third, he'll clear.
Schmitz will make that move. We'll try and get the draft from Kyle Schmitz into turn number 3. Off turn number 4 will go to Kyle Schmitz. Will still hold on to the second. Joshua Schmitz running the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get the momentum forward, but Calvin Smith with a good run. The fight for second here in the championship, fight for third on the racetrack. But only this time by, it'll be 3 laps to go. Rusty Rafferty Not hoping for a caution. Kyle Schmitz probably over a caution, so we have an opportunity to get the race win, but hoping for no caution. Due to the lower risk of getting wrecked, losing this championship here, but 3 laps to go. So he's still kind of battling out for second, but Kyle Schmitz is able to get the advantage a little bit here. Two laps to go. Just trying to get back for the white flag for Rusty Rafferty. It's been a good night for him tonight. Rusty Rafferty running up in the top 3 pretty much all night long. Oh, get to the wall a little bit there, making a little mistake. Running the top 5 pretty much all night long. Lost the back of the draft a little bit when in that last run before we had that final caution. But he got that caution, got back up to the battle, stayed out a lot longer. She had a few laps, about 10 laps longer than everybody else in this strategy. Took the overcut, took the 2 tire call. He'll take the white flag. 3 miles to go for Rusty Rafferty. More importantly, just a couple seconds behind him, Kyle Schmitz entered tonight, 10 points in the lead for the championship. 4 wins on the year, tied for the 3rd most top 10s throughout the season with 14. Tonight, he's going to add 1 more. He's going to add 15, but also tonight he will add 1 more top 5, and he'll have the solo most top 5s this year with 12. Now able to get the 5th win tonight. But more importantly, Kyle Schmitz off of turn number 4, looking to be the champion. But Rusty Rafferty off turn number 4. He's going to win the finale here in Fontana. 2 seconds later, crossing the line, Kyle Schmitz will be our Contender Series Season 2 champion.
Fireworks go off in the background here in Fontana, California.
It's Kyle Schmitz, our champion, Rusty Rafferty, our race winner. Let's see if they burn it out together on the front straightaway. A perfectly ran race pretty much by Kyle Schmitz. Just staying out of trouble. Staying clean. Didn't play that strategy perfectly in that final run there, but it was good enough. He could hold on to the race lead. Hold on to the championship lead. Stay out of trouble.
Let's track the inventory right there as well.
Kyle Schmitz and Rusty Rafferty burns it down. Rusty Rafferty will park it into victory lane. Kyle Schmitz will continue to celebrate his championship. We'll talk to those 2 in just a moment. Also talking to our 3rd place finisher here tonight of Joshua Schmitz. Able to hold off in 3rd, able to hold off Calvin Smith there. Kyle Schmitz will park it on the front straightaway. Rusty Rafferty will park it in victory lane. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here for our post-race interviews here from Fontana. Welcome back here to Fontana as we just wrapped up the season finale for Season 2 of the Quantum Contender Series. We'll talk to our post-race, our champion, our season championship, Kyle Schmitz, and Rusty Raffy, our race winner here tonight in just a second. Also, our third place finisher, Josh Schmitz. Before we get to that, let's take a look at our final results of the season. And Rusty Raffy able to make the two-tire call to pick up the win. He'll beat Kyle Schmitz by 1.7 seconds at the line. Kyle Schmitz finished second, Josh Schmitz in third. Calvin Smith Rana in fourth tonight. Derek Riley in fifth. Jake Williams will finish in sixth tonight. Jason Bottoms in seventh. Cody Dorsey in eighth. Dan Barone in ninth. And Scott Kerber right out of the top 10. Running our 12-car field tonight. Brady Tyson in 11th. And Dakota Y in 12th. Now, before we get to our post race, let's take a look at our final point standings of the season. Maybe a couple points off, but pretty much the final points there tonight. Kyle Schmitz in the points champion here tonight. 11 points. Only gained 1 point here tonight, but that's okay. That's all he needed to do. Just hold on to the actually, they need 4 points. I'll use on that one. But he gained points here tonight. Only had to hold on. Only as long as he didn't lose more than 10, he was going to be the champion. They able to add a few more. Kyle Schmitz, our champion. Calvin Smith able to get second over Joshua Schmitz there right at the very end. They were battling that 3-car pack. Joshua Schmitz in third, Derek Riley in fourth. They could go to around our previous season champion. Season 1, he'll finish season 2 and fifth. But Kyle Schmitz, our champion. And I will bring in our third place finisher here tonight, Joshua Schmitz. Joshua Schmitz finishing in third tonight, running, had an up and down race tonight, but towards the end of the race, you found your way up front, battling for that top three, battling for that second place spot there late. What do you think you could have differently? Maybe try and put yourself in that strategy and try and get up front for the race win.
Well, it started off terribly. I was doing everything wrong. Hit the wall, decided to hit 10 laps before everyone. And then as the pits kept coming, I kept making ground doing it that way. And without that caution, I think I would have made it there on my own. But I kind of thought it was over when that caution came out and I had to stay out. But I was able to keep up with them. And since I was short on fuel, I had no choice but to do that early pit. And then I slid through the box, so shot myself in the foot on that one. Or else, I mean, 2 tires still won at the end of the day. So not much I could have done elsewise.
You're still overall having a very solid season throughout the season, really strong all season long. You didn't make the able to make the championship 5 and finishing third in the points after tonight. Able to get 3 wins on the year. So overall, just kind of what was your thoughts on so far this season here as your rookie?
Oh, that was fun, especially the days that were run up front. Yeah, I mean, it was nice. Everyone in here is a good group of guys. I don't look at the same guys every week, so it was fun.
And able to finish top off the season with a third place run before we send off on to any sponsors. Would you like to thank for tonight's third place run and overall through the season?
Yeah, go check out our spare parts gaming community on Facebook and my mom's editions on eBay.
Once again, congrats on your third place finish here tonight and your third place in the championship. We'll see you next season.
Thank you very much.
So it's Joshua Schmitz, our third place finisher here tonight. Now we'll skip over Kyle Schmitz in second. Well, save the best for last, our champion for last. We'll bring in our race winner here tonight of Rusty Rafferty, able to make a great strategy call there towards the end of the race. Able to make up a 2-tire call there with about just over 15 laps to go. Kind of what was going through your head through that final pit strategy, and what made you make that final call for the to pick up that win?
Well, I knew if I did what the other guys did, I was just going to follow them. I couldn't get around them. They were just a little bit quicker than me. The dirty air was tough to overcome. So if I knew I did what they did, I was just going to follow them. So I had to do something completely different. Had no idea it was going to work, especially as well as it did. I was shocked at how well it gripped on just 2 tires. But yeah, it was just desperation of do the opposite of what they do.
And it worked out for you, able to drive away there in that final run, able to pick up the win as the season finale. And weren't able to make the championship 5 here tonight, but you're able to pick up your second win on the season tonight. 2 wins on the year. Just overall, what do you think overall this season with tonight? Top it off with 1 more win.
Well, it's funny. I wasn't in the championship last year, and I won the season finale. So I'm definitely the spoiler of the league. But yeah, man, this is an awesome league. I hate that I missed the last 2 races, but fatherly duties call before this. But yeah, man, this is a blast. I look forward to Thursdays. It's just been fantastic experience. Can't wait to do it again.
Able to top it off, cap it off with one more win before I set off on the way. Any sponsors would you like to thank for tonight's race win and throughout this whole season?
I want to thank Cody and Dakota and Derek for putting these on, and thank the league sponsors of my mom's addictions on eBay. Head over there, buy some stuff. I actually need to get in touch with Kyle Schmitz about that. Some things I want to get. And thank Kevin Kyle, KKWoodscapes. I just got my trophy for my win earlier this season in Kentucky, and I guess I got to DM him again here tonight.
Yeah, you're able to get another trophy for tonight, picking up the win here at Auto Club. The season finale as it started the Undisputed Cup Series, back race number 1, the last season. So able to get the finale here tonight. But once again, congrats on your win and congrats on your season. We'll see you next season here. Got up in a couple weeks.
Thank you, fellas. I also want to thank you guys for putting these on, putting broadcasts on, man. You guys are awesome.
Once again, that is Rusty Rafferty, our race winner here tonight for our season finale. I also forgot to mention throughout tonight, really wasn't much of a difference. Scott Kerber was lapped down, or actually after Brady Cuxhausen got wrecked, actually made it tough. But our Burlington Cafe Bracket Challenge finale goes to Scott Kerber, able to win the bracket challenge over Brandon Cuxhausen throughout a final battle there. So Scott Kerber, the 3 seed entering the season. These drivers were the drivers that did not make the original playoffs. The best of the rest kind of bracket as well. So Scott Kerber, our Burlington Cafe Bracket Challenge winner. But now we'll bring in our season 2 champion of Kyle Schmitz, able to run your good race tonight. Kind of what was going through your mindset entering tonight, knowing you had a 10-point buffer. Just kind of trying to stay clean, or were you trying to go for that one last win?
Oh, I was going for it. I didn't want a points race and have to look where the other 4 guys were. I just out there, drove as hard as I could, pretty much the entire race. I aero blocked like crazy on Calvin, a couple other people. I wanted to win. I was out there doing my damnedest to win. So I had no other strategy than that, aside from don't mess up on pit road. I knew that I was quick. I was comfortable in the car. Once the tires wore off a little bit, I felt even better. Calvin is ridiculously quick, so basically aero blocked him as much as I could, try to get that most laps led bonus, because I knew points were going to be at a premium. So I just did everything I could to win. Congrats though to Rusty on the pit strategy. I did not foresee that coming at all. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, able to pick up a second place finish here tonight to end off your season and and we'll crown you as the champion. But just kind of just kind of reflect on your season, able to get the championship, and how do you think your season went? I know you kind of had a lot of your life conflicts early to start the year, but it definitely has to feel good for the bounce back throughout the rest of the season and able to pick up the championship.
Yeah, to start the year, I knew I was going to miss a couple. I think I had to start and park 3 races, and I full on missed the second one. So I knew I was in a big hole. The sweep at Motegi, that kind of really turned it around for me. I picked up a lot of points there. But knowing that I was going to miss so many races, I do have a kid that played travel hockey. So Thursdays, we're usually leaving to go to all over the Western United States to play hockey and stuff. So I knew I was going to miss stuff. All the other start and parks were also hockey games. So obviously real life is more important than video game life. So I knew I was going to have to battle back. It was very tedious and tiring. I needed to get those couple wins throughout the year. I think I had 3, the Motegi and Dega. And then last week really helped. It helped that like Cody had a bad race that really kind of flipped the points a lot in my favor. But yeah, the start of the season again, it was a little nerve-wracking because I knew I was going to be pretty short on points going forward, but lucky, got a couple wins, turned it around, and eventually got to this point now.
Yeah, made a great turnaround throughout the season. Ended 2025 off with that doubleheader win at Motegi, like you said. Able to carry that momentum throughout the rest of 2026. Able to crown yourself as champion. Before you set off on the way, any sponsors, I think, for tonight, for the championship, the second place finish tonight, and just your whole season.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, my mom's addictions on eBay, NASCAR memorabilia. Go check it out. Spare parts gaming community, Xbox-based racing stuff. Also, the all the league sponsors, everything they do, everything they put forward to giving us a place to race, to have fun. Really appreciate Quantum, KKWoodscapes, Burlington Cafe, smacking you guys here at LRN Broadcasting, Aaron Talent, everything you guys do for us and showcasing us, talking about us. We really appreciate everything you guys do for us.
Once again, congrats on your championship. We'll see you next season here in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely, Aaron. Talon, have a good one.
So that was Kyle Schmitz, our Quantum Contender Series Season 2 champion. A great drive for him tonight, keeping it out of trouble, finishing second to top off the season. It's definitely a fun one, as I mentioned. Scott Kerber, also our Burlington Cafe Bracket Challenge, so the best of the rest kind of playoff drivers there. The non-playoff drivers there, so Scott Kerber able to get that over Brandon Coxhausen, both finishing, both of those drivers finishing 10th and 11th, 2 laps down here tonight as well. But Russ Rafferty topping off the season with one more win overall. Had a lot of different pit strategy tonight in that final run. Only 2 cautions to end out the season. Definitely kind of definitely a fun one here tonight from Auto Club to wrap it up.
Yeah, definitely. You saw all the different pit strategies, and the name of the game was pit road. That's what we talked about pretty much all night. That was the difference in tonight's race. On and off pit road, and the pit road strategies involved in that one as well. And the Rusty Rafty played it well, and we kind of saw it coming a little bit, but also, I mean, you gotta make it count in the moment, and Rusty Rafty did. He actually pulled away from those guys behind him, surprisingly, a little bit, and just a great job for him winning this finale and carry his momentum next season in the season number 3, which is, I believe, in mid to late April.
And that next season will definitely be a fun one. We'll see a lot, some new faces coming into the league for the next season, and we'll also see kind of the veterans like Kyle Smith. We'll see if he can back up his championship at the end of tonight. But definitely been a fun season throughout the year. 19 races, kind of about 2 weeks. We did have a couple of off weeks throughout the holidays, of course. But it's definitely been a fun one. Remember, Jordan alongside Talon Drake here tonight. It's been fun for both of us for calling the races all season long in the production. It's definitely fun. I think Quantum Contender Series for having us on throughout the season, and also all the league sponsors smacking. Burlington Cafe, KKWoodscapes, all those guys tonight. KKWoodscapes 280 here tonight. So the title sponsor for tonight's race here from Auto Club. It's definitely been fun throughout this entire season. Before we sign off fully here, coming up next here on the Legends Racing Network. Tomorrow night, we'll hear for March 13th. We'll have our second LRN special event of the year. It'll be the Spring Dirt Nationals. Dirt Street Stocks out of the door at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If you'd like to join and race in that event, please join our Discord in the description. You have the sign up link in there. You do not have to sign up, but if you do sign up, you are eligible for a random $10 draw from out of everybody who signed up. So I believe we have 11 signups. So if you get a sign up now, you have about 10% chance of walking away with $10. So feel free to sign up in the Discord and also join our Legends Racing Network Discord. We do have a $100 prize pool for tomorrow night. First winner tomorrow night will be walking away with a $50 bill, so that'll be fun. So everyone wants to come out and join that tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be live here on the Legends Racing Network. Coming up next week, we'll have on Tuesday, we'll have the Top Tier Racing League. They'll be going to Las Vegas, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday night. And on Wednesday, March 25th, we'll have the Superstar Cup back, so we'll have another Top Tier Racing race, and they will be going, I believe, follow the real life schedule. Not sure where they go after Vegas. I believe they hit on Martinsville after Vegas. Let's take a look. Actually, no, it will be Darlington. So it'll be Top Tier Racing next Tuesday. They'll be going to Las Vegas, and then they'll be going to Darlington 1 week later, and then they'll be the day after we'll have the Superstar Cup back from their spring break at Sonoma, 8:15 Eastern Time in 2 weeks' time. here on the Legends Racing Network. We're so happy for y'all to join us so long, so far this season. Hope to see you next season, season 3. Well, hopefully in a couple of weeks, mid-April, for the Contender series. Hope to see you out throughout the rest of the week. Hope to see you tomorrow night here for the LRN Spring Nationals. This is so long. A fun one here tonight from Fontana. So long. This has been the KKWoodscapes 280. So long here from Fontana. We'll see you next time on the Legends Racing Network.